Hello everyone, I'm Denise.
And I'm Ryan.
And welcome to our channel. If you've never been here before, you are not alone.
We've barely been here.
We've barely been here, but we're here today. And today we're going to talk about coffee.
Iced coffee and making it at home. And my recipe.
I'm pretty sure unlike a lot of people out there who go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever coffee places in their area of the country, and you get a great cup of coffee, and then you think, you know what, I bet I could do that at home. You try to do it at home, you might get the beans and the grinder and the French press and all that sort of thing, and it never really comes out the right way. Ryan, and I can attest to this because I'm drinking it today.
I have my own recipe. First of all, for great hot coffee. But a way to put coffee over ice at home and keep the ice and keep the coffee and have it be Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts grade, sort of, while you don't have to spend $5 to $7 every single day. So it's a lot easier to buy your own beans and make it at home. There's lots of different methods, but I might be biased, but I like my method the best. And we're here to show it to you.
All right, time to show the folks.
Let's do it.
All right, so Ryan, we've talked a little bit about the beans and choosing beans. What are the beans that we're going to be using today?
So to start, we are going to be using Pete's coffee beans, which is a medium roast, and this particular roast is called Big Bang. It's mild in caffeine level, and it's sold pretty largely locally here, so it's at every store. You can kind of happen upon it. It was roughly $12, I think, for this whole pack of whole beans. So this is the electric grinder that I use personally. You can get them for like $10 online or at Target or Walmart or anything like that. You can also get a hand grinder, which you can grind by hand, but of course it's a lot more time consuming. So if you're choosing to grind your beans and you're choosing to use an electric grinder, you're going to want to put your beans into the little center hole here and fill it up just so that it reaches the level. Just so that it reaches the top level right there, which you can pretty much assume. And then put the lid back on top, and you're going to want to grind it for about 10 to 15 seconds. Less time than you would normally grind coffee beans if you were using something like a drip coffee maker or a Mr. Coffee, just regular coffee pot. Because when using a French press, which is my preferred method, you have a metal canister or a glass canister, as well as a fine mesh strainer that pushes down all of those grounds after it's been mixed with the water. And when you have really, really fine coffee grounds, it will escape or percolate sort of through the mesh strainer itself, and it'll give you a really grainy, kind of chalky cup of coffee, which nobody likes. No matter how much ice you add, you won't be able to get rid of it. So when you're using a French press, I recommend using what they call French press grounds, which is grinding it just a little bit less fine, a little bit more coarse than you would normally have. So you can still see kind of like chunks of those beans identifiably in your ground mix. And this French press itself is made up of a few little compartments. The mesh strainer, the piece of metal that goes on the bottom of the mesh strainer to hold it to the piece of metal that goes on top. So you take the bottom and you put this little guy on top of it. And you can see that mine's pretty well used. And then you put this little bit to close them in and kind of make a mesh strainer sandwich. And then you take the little knob that screws everything together, you put it through the hole, and it does fit and works. And then you just screw it onto the top. Now, it may seem needless to explain, but it's not when it comes to cleaning your French press. Because after every time that you use it, you're going to want to take these off and make sure they're rinsed, or else you'll have kind of a gnarly cup of coffee the next time you try to use it if you just run it under some water. So then this goes in here. And once you already have your grounds in here, and you pour the hot water on top and mix it all up. Sometimes if you don't watch it, it'll go over the edges and everything. It's super important to mix them, first of all, to prevent that. So you have to make sure that you mix everything together with a big spoon or a knife laying around and let it sit for 5 to 15 minutes so that you can have the strongest and most flavorful cup of coffee.
We really hope that folks give this a try.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as complicated. You need a French press,
A coffee grinder. And I mean, you can do this, the exact same sort of iced coffee method with a regular coffee machine, or even instant coffee, if that's easier. But I will say, doing it in the morning, right when you first wake up, it's kind of a nice activity to ground yourself and engage with what you're really doing before you even get that first cup of coffee in you. So
it becomes kind of a ritual, I think, which is what people, what people like.
I somehow manage to make myself do it every single morning. And then it's always kind of a reward. You feel like you earned it.
Yeah.
You feel like you earned a really good cup of coffee. So as long as you make sure to put the ice all the way up in the mason jar, and then as you fill it, you watch the ice go down, and once the liquid, the coffee, reaches the ice level, that's when you stop pouring. So even if it's not all the way filled with coffee, you don't want to just keep pouring hot coffee on it. It'll just turn to water. If you want to keep the ice cubes alive, just fill up to the point where the ice sits comfortably without floating up to the top.
I see.
And it will stay cold, and then make sure you mix it with whatever straw or spoon that you have so that that cold coffee gets down to the bottom, so you don't stick your straw in and take a huge sip of warm coffee.
Now, I did want to say one more thing before we leave. Still feels like there's a lot of coffee left.
There is.
So people are going to want to know, how many cups of coffee does this make? 6 at least?
5 or 6.
Okay.
5 or 6, I want to say like 6-ounce glasses.
And it will last, so you can just hold this in this French press all day long. You can put it in the fridge. You can have it at night. You can have it in the afternoon for a little pick-me-up.
I frequently will make a French press at night and then pour that coffee just hot into a mason jar and put it in the fridge. And then I'll have it in the morning for iced coffee. And I don't have to worry about any of that. So
Delicious.
it's an easy way to do it too.
All right, kiddos, so what are we? Are we off to our next recipe?
I suppose we are.
All right. See ya.
Bye.